My name is Brandon. I'm a former police sergeant and assistant SWAT team leader. Today, my mission continues with a remarkable organization called Here Tomorrow, whose mission is the removal of all barriers to mental health support in order to save lives. Welcome to our podcast, Clearing the Minefield. The men and women in uniform who will be our guests have made extraordinary sacrifices in service to their people. Now, with strength and resilience, they live their lives on the road to wellness. We ask you to understand that some of the raw and real experiences they'll be sharing may be unsettling to some viewers. Now walk with me, friend, as we clear the minefield. Welcome back to Clearing the Minefield. I'm your host, Brandon. Before we get to introducing our guest today, Dr. Jeremy Bouchard, I want to really give a quick shout out to American Legion Post 250 and District 5, the Mighty Fifth. They do a lot to support our program. They help us help military and first responders, and they help us get this podcast out to the people who need to hear it. So I want to say thanks, Jeremy, for coming on the show. It's been a minute since we've seen each other, but I'm glad you're here.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. So Jeremy and I met during a retreat with the First Responder Project, and you're going to see Dr. H on the show a little bit later to talk about that. But really cool retreat.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. I actually want to go back.
Yeah, no doubt. The camp was kind of funny, a bunch of cops at this camp. They're like, "All right, come to Camp Weed." I'm like,
Camp Weed, yeah.
Is this a trick or like? What are we supposed to do?
Yeah, no, it was great, absolutely great, and I would definitely 100% go back
in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
and at Here Tomorrow, one of the things we do, like everybody that comes into the program, we send out like a one pager, right? And if FRP or First Responder Project is on there, because I think those retreats are just phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely great time. The diversity of people there, all backgrounds. Solid.
So cool. Yeah. They even had firefighters, but we didn't make fun of them. So it was
not too much.
Not too much.
Yeah.
But, got to make sure the scene's secure before they showed up every morning.
Yeah.
Then we were good to go. But Jeremy, I know a couple of cool things about you. I just learned this morning that you do in fact have a doctorate.
I do. I have a doctorate in business administration.
So cool, man.
Yeah.
I know you like to surf, and I know you're one hell of a guitarist.
I do. I surf and play guitar, and that's a lot of my coping right there is surfing, and obviously guitar too. But that is a different stress in itself.
That is. So it's interesting to me because surfing and guitar are two things I try to do. Right.
Yep.
And, like when I play guitar, I'm not a professional. Obviously, I really have to focus. So it's a good way for me to be mindful.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm a actively gigging musician. I play monthly around Jacksonville, and it's challenging, especially on the mental health side of it, because of there's a lot of pressure to perform consistently all the time. Where surfing, it's a one man sport, at least for me. I'm out there by myself in my own head, not in my own head, whatever I need to do to basically relax and just surf the best of my ability.
A year ago, 2 years ago, probably more, we went to a surf camp. It was like a recovery surf camp, and did like a surf lesson, saltwater cowgirl.
Yeah. Tracy was telling me about that one.
So cool.
Yeah.
And so I got a little overconfident because I didn't realize what kind of boards we were on, right? So we're on this thing's like a coffee table.
Oh yeah.
Basically, it's 8 feet long, whatever, it's super wide.
That trap foam board.
Oh yeah. It's like, you get a little apartment in the back, So I get up on the board pretty easy. I'm like, man, I can surf. So got a new board for Christmas, right? 7 feet, quite a bit narrower.
Yeah.
And that thing just kicked my ass last time we were out. But I actually really enjoyed it because it made me a better surfer already.
Yeah, it'll humble you.
That it did.
The pros make it look easy, but it takes a lot of work.
Oh my God, man! There are those little 6 foot boards, and they're like,
30 liters, and I'm 172 pounds, and you've really got to. It's a liter game to really get good.
Oh man, yeah. So I'm going again this Friday.
Okay,
so,
where are you going?
St. Augustine Beach.
Oh yeah, that's this Friday.
Yeah.
Oh man,
you want to come out?
I would like to. I got to figure out some childcare. I don't think there's school Friday.
Heck yeah, I'll text you.
Yeah,
cool.
That's right in my backyard.
Man, that'd be. We're going to the range too.
Okay.
Yeah. But there we are. All right. So, did you grow up in St. Augustine?
I did. I was born in Fort Lauderdale. Grew up in St. Augustine.
Florida boy.
Yeah, Florida boy. Florida native.
I'm a transplant from northeastern Kentucky. It's all a bit different.
Yeah, I won't hold it against you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been very welcoming the whole time. What's it like growing up in like the nation's oldest city?
Didn't appreciate it for the longest time. There was really not too much to do. I mean, we're going back to the early 90s. I remember a lot of it was still basically woods. A1A was all woods. Obviously, that's all changed now. I remember they built um, the Barnes and Nobles there. That was all woods. I mean, we're going in the Wayback Machine there.
Yeah.
And so around that time, there wasn't that much to do. So it was a lot of boredom, a lot of bike riding. Ride around on the island. Um, just kind of hanging out and trying to stay out of trouble.
No, it doesn't sound like it sucked. But, yeah.
When you're a kid, it was pretty terrible because,
Mm.
you have to have something to do, to keep you busy. But
You do. I heard somebody say the other day, I wish there was a way to tell you're in the good old days when you're in the good old days.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Because it can be hard to tell when that is. So when I got down here, I moved into Mandarin, right? So, and we've produced like so many Mandarin musks. My wife went to graduated from Mandarin. I graduated from Mandarin. I think I was the first. Then our oldest boy Tyler. Then my daughter, and now my youngest son is in Mandarin. So we're going to produce like 5 Mandarin Mustangs.
Wow.
We got some legacy there. But I'm an age now where I can look at a Mandarin and go, I remember when this is orange grove, as far as the eye could see.
Yeah, no, yeah, I do that to my kid all the time. Actually, he's in the same middle school that I went to.
Nice.
So no, I can definitely relate to that.
That's cool, isn't it, man?
Yeah,
Just
I'm
kinda
like
have that.
back in my day, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, I'm at that age now.
Yeah.
I get to say.
Here we go. That's not how we used to do it.
So, growing up down there, did you just know you wanted to be a cop? Was that something that you knew was on the table for you?
So I'm second gen law enforcement. My dad was a cop down in Fort Lauderdale, and ultimately when we moved up here, I was only 8 or 9 years old. Did the whole school thing. I did the police explorers and had a lot of access through that. Even going through that, I wasn't 100% sure I was going to do it.
Sure.
So, I graduated high school. All my buddies are at college. I'm working a job. I was a sub technician. I made sandwiches at Subway,
Nice.
and all the guys would come in, and I would, obviously take care of them, and he finally talked me into it, and I went down, and it seems like yesterday now. It's 23 years ago, but I went down and did all my paperwork and got accepted, and here I am.
Yeah, man, that's a bit of a process.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good mind trip. Yeah.
It really is. It's. I don't know if a lot of folks know, but just to get into the police academy, you've got psychological testing, you've got the polygraph, you've got backgrounds of it. They come and talk to your neighbors. So I mean, you're not even getting hired. You're just, well, for me, I like paid my way through BLE.
Yeah.
But I'm like, shoot, I'm not even getting hired, and they're out here talking to my neighbors.
Yeah. So when I got sponsored to go through the academy.
Nice.
And I was working part-time for the PAL League, Police Athletic League. I was driving the PAL van
Cool.
for First Tee, a lot of golf stuff. And so I ended up getting sponsored, and they still were coming out and talking to my neighbors. They still went and spoke to my teachers. Because at that time, I this is pre-Fast and the Furious now, but I had a Honda Civic.
I had a Honda Prelude.
Yeah. Oh, no. No way.
That goes back.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Of course, I had it tricked out and, rims and the muffler. And back in those days, we actually had boom boxes, the 12-inch subs. And,
I had an RX-7 later on. That thing I got shook apart by my subs.
Yeah. So obviously, I kind of met the mold, but maybe at face value, I didn't meet the mold.
Yeah.
So they did a little extra tree shaking for sure. Yeah.
Always wise.
Yeah.
Got to see what comes out when you shake the tree.
Yeah. Amazingly, I didn't have any tickets.
None.
No, not a one.
Well,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. I only had a couple. That wasn't too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, because at that time, that was the main disqualifier. You couldn't have any tickets for about 5 years.
Oh, huge.
For the agency at that time, yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine who's a retired commander from the Navy was trying to get into law enforcement as an auxiliary. Mm-hmm. And crazy Navy career overseas multiple times. Can't be a cop because he had too many tickets.
Yeah, absolutely wild. Today, it's more forgiving.
Is it?
Yeah, much more forgiving to a degree. Obviously, you can't have a bunch of crazy stuff too close together, but it's much better, much more palatable today.
So I think a lot of folks, this happened kind of in Atlantic Beach, but a lot of folks go, oh, you're a cop at a beach town. That must be just chill. You just hang out on the beach all day and nothing ever happens. But what's it like being a cop in St. Augustine?
It's probably the same as being a cop anywhere else. We're still dealing with the same types of people, different folks, different walks of life. Alcohol's everywhere. Obviously, drugs are everywhere, and whether you're on the beach or out in the country, people still have the same problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Um,
It's interesting too, man, because somebody asked me a little while ago, what was the worst drug you dealt with on the street? And I say, in terms of lives lost, damage done, nothing touches alcohol.
oh yeah, yeah,
And people don't realize that, but they think it's
yeah.
going to be meth, they think it's going to be fentanyl, but I
Fentanyl,
got
yeah,
alcohol.
yeah, yeah. Fentanyl is definitely a second.
Sure.
But yeah, alcohol is so long term and absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just socially ingrained.
yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah,
Man. So some of that, like we were talking the other day, you get to do some things in law enforcement that you just do not see coming. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, right?
yeah.
So I had a rookie with me. I think it might have been week 2 for her. And this poor this poor woman, talk about childhood dreams just being shattered. We had to take down the Easter Bunny.
Oh no,
So
no, no,
and you cannot win a fight with the Easter Bunny.
no, no.
It just can't be done.
Yeah,
No matter what happens,
yeah,
you just fought the Easter Bunny.
yeah.
Do you have anything like weird, wild bully?
Oh yeah, yeah. Man, it's all kind of a blur, but there's always there's always a little something. Let me try to draw from it. Not quite the Easter Bunny, but usually the naked crackhead
Oh God,
is always the go-to story.
that's
It
another
seems
fight you
like.
can't win.
Yeah, um, yeah. But actually, one of my first calls, night one, was a suicide.
Oh God.
Um, it was a suicide attempt,
Mm.
and it actually turned out to be a guy I went to high school with that I actually knew very well.
Holy
Yeah,
cow, man.
yeah. Didn't realize it because I'm day one, night one. First, my idea was like, just sit in the car, don't even get out right now,
Good idea.
because he had SKS and a rifle.
Yep.
And he was pretty hot. But yeah, that one stuck with me right away. And that actually set the tone for most of my career. It seems like at that point, because small town, you tend to know a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know,
I got lucky that way. I worked out at the beach, so I really wasn't around a lot of people that I went to school with. But I imagine it's got to be different, man. I mean, that's right where you grew up. You spent
Yeah.
your whole life, and
yeah. It wasn't my first agency I applied at, and I purposely tried to avoid it. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I'm not disappointed about it. It was things happen for a reason.
Sure.
Um,
Well, you've been there 23 years.
23
Is
years.
that right, man?
Yeah,
That's outstanding.
23 years full time, and I had 2 years part time. Driving a PAL van.
There you go.
Yeah, so I've been around for a while. 3 sheriffs.
There's 3.
3 sheriffs. Yeah.
There you go.
For a small town, that's a lot, because my first sheriff, I think he was there almost 30 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So no term limits at
No.
that time, right?
Well, he came up through the agency. I think he was sheriff for, it seemed like forever. So, yeah.
So lots of things happen in law enforcement.
Yeah.
There's a ton of training. There's the possibility of different assignments.
Mhm.
Has it been patrol? Has it been a patrol and a mix of other assignments?
Primarily, I've been in patrol for about 21 years. I did some detective work. I worked in property crimes unit, and then got promoted out of property crimes
Nice.
as a sergeant. Came back to patrol again for another stint. Then I got promoted again to lieutenant. And then I did about a year in youth resource.
Nice.
And let me tell you about that. That's an experience, right? there,
Yeah.
Youth resource.
you got to be a special person
Yeah.
to work in that environment.
Yeah.
What's it like?
Oh man, politics.
Mm.
Because you have office politics and you have school board politics, and then you have
Oof.
parents.
Oh, parents.
So you have a trifecta of different toe tapping that you have to do. It's definitely most of the time it was fine, but when it went wrong, it went wrong.
I got to tell you, man, like at all my martial arts gyms,
Yeah.
I didn't teach kids.
No.
I tried it a couple of times, right? Because I like kids. I love being around kids. It wasn't the kids.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
was the parents.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did. I grew up in martial arts too.
Yeah.
And did you ever see that meme of Rampage trying to teach the guy how to kick the bag?
Yes. Yeah.
That cracks me up every time. That would be me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are people who are so good at that. They're so
Yeah.
good at navigating the parents and teaching the kids.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're exceptional.
Yeah. It's a
What
great
was
time.
what do you think was your favorite assignment?
I mean, I always patrol's my home. 'cause it's just where I've been the longest. If I had to pick to go somewhere tomorrow, I would go back to Bouchard. The, the s- the schedule's good. Um, the people are great over there. I had a lot of great leadership
Oh, it's good.
over there, and it was a good time. So
I had a mix. I had some very good leaders, and then we had a chief who came in. It's kind of a tragic story, so I don't want to dwell on that guy, but the department just took a really sharp downward turn in terms of morale and training and everything else. And but we eventually got to a pretty good chief, Michelle Cook. She was after my time, but she's a sheriff over in Clay now.
Yeah.
So they eventually got the good leadership back. So I'm glad to hear that you experienced some of that.
Yeah, yeah. Leadership, it happens in cycles. It seems like anytime you transition from a new sheriff, he brings his people in or he promotes within. It's just a different cycle, So I've had bad leaders, obviously.
Sure.
At times I felt like a bad leader. It's just part of the cycle.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
Yeah.
Inside of that, it's patrol is, I know everything else gets the TV show, right? The detectives, the CSI, they get the TV shows, but where the rubber meets the road, man, where everything happens, generally speaking, that's patrol.
Yeah, I mean, we did have cops for.
Did you?
Like the TV show Cops.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have that for a
Were
while.
you on it?
No, but my dad went to the police academy with one of the guys that created that show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Small world, right? Different. So we did get some good PR, because I grew up watching Cops.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
I stopped once I started the job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah, I typically avoid any law enforcement TV now.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets a little
It's
rocky.
too much.
No, it's
Yeah.
your downtime. You're watching work. I mean, it's like
You're living and you're breathing it, and it puts this mental exhaustion on you, and you got to have the boundaries. And you got to know when to turn it off.
I heard a really good piece of advice given to a young man who was going into law enforcement a couple of years ago. There was an older guy. He'd been a firefighter and he had been law enforcement. So he did both jobs, and he told this young guy, he said, "Look, do it. Do the job. Become a very good professional, become good at the job, but don't become the job."
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that was a very good piece of advice, because did you find that your identity started to kind of blur, difference between Jeremy and Lieutenant Bouchard?
Thankfully, no. I've always been really good at keeping work and private life separate. For example, my Facebook page, no cop stuff.
Nice.
At all, whatsoever. No pictures, no anything, no milestones, no nothing at all. When I'm off, especially in the early days, when I was off, I wasn't the guy driving my marked patrol car to the gym, to Publix. I didn't want any of that exposure. I avoided that like the plague. Some people really embrace that. I steered away from it. I'm not really sure why. It's just I've always been really good at keeping that distance. Something deep down inside told me probably not for me.
I love that you said that, because we have that in common.
Yeah.
I think I did. We had a lieutenant whose personal checks said lieutenant.
Oh,
you know what I mean? In his name. And I never really let myself adopt the identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was interesting for me, because I went into law enforcement as a person who has a problem with authority figures.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah.
when somebody questioned my authority, I was never really set off by it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll, as long as it's safe, and I'm controlled the situation, I'll explain why. Can you talk about some of the challenges? Because you've had a long career and you've been in so many different phases. What are some of the challenges that you really found about the job?
Oh man. Early on it was the SWAT challenge, because I came up on team, did all that. The professional stress that just comes in being in a job. It varies every day, but typically it's just being responsible, going to the trainings and just doing all that's related to that, just trying to be better than what you were yesterday. Yeah. And for me, that was actually the hardest part. That was one of my biggest challenges. It's not that I didn't care or I wasn't interested. It's just maybe I didn't really know how to do it at the time, because I was pretty young during that time. I was maybe 20, 21.
That's a young guy.
Yeah, yeah. So I had all these father type figures, and they're like, you got to go to this school, you got to go to that school, you got to go to this school, you got to do this, you got to do that. It was always go here, go there, but nobody like really stepped up and invested into you at the time.
Yeah.
Because it was basically like military, do as I say, not as I do.
Sure.
So that was actually turned out to be a pretty big challenge. Just kind of wrapping my young mind around what I needed to do to really be successful.
That's a good point. Because one of the reasons that I went from JSO as a bailiff to Atlantic Beach as a police officer was that I had heard that I could get a lot more training there, and I did. I got all the training I could. I had a finagle for everything I could.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of cramming that in. And we both have that SWAT background. When you're training for SWAT and you're in that position, the eyes are on you.
Yes. The judgment is real. Judgment is real.
And everybody's looking at you.
Yeah, everybody.
Every mistake is magnified. Every bad day is magnified.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah. It's on Front Street, and being so young and impressionable, you will carry that throughout your career. And that is another challenge in itself, is carrying that judgment, that always fear of being evaluated. Can't we just train and get better? Why does it have to be an evaluation every time?
Yeah.
And
there can be a feeling sometimes among the citizenry and sometimes among even inside of law enforcement, or let me just speak for myself. I sometimes had a feeling that maybe people were waiting for you to get knocked down a peg.
Yeah, absolutely. I was fairly confident and young and dumb.
Yeah.
And, obviously I had the MMA background.
Yeah.
So I was always ready to go toe to toe.
Sure.
I wanted to be tested.
Yes.
And at that level, because you're training so hard, you're putting in all that work. You're like, come on, baby, test me.
Man, I was just talking about that with Jared Reston the other day, and he came on the show, and that's the way it is, though.
Yeah.
I grew up in martial arts. You grew up in martial arts, and we grew up fighting, and you eventually want to see, in the real world, can I hold up to this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's part of the journey. You're a tiger basically in a cage, and you're just ready. You're just basically waiting for it.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
And you've always got to find that balance. So for me, it was there has to be a balance between. I can't remember this exact quote, but it was from a Chinese warrior who said that every warrior must be capable of destruction.
Yeah.
And simultaneously concerned with compassion and humanity.
Yeah.
So there's always that balance you got to find there.
Yeah. It reminds me of, it's better to be a warrior in a garden and not a garden.
A gardener in a war.
Yeah.
Poor gardener.
Yeah.
Yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
So you've got SWAT, you've got patrol, the day-to-day work, man. And this is one of the things that I found challenging is it's not just that they're the big critical incidents. There's all of these tiny little incidents every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just no time to recover.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
At the lieutenant level, not so bad. But when I was a patrolman and a sergeant, we would go from an electrocution death to a baby death to a car accident to all back to back.
Yeah.
To an officer involved shooting. You just never know. And transitioning with that at the time, you just kind of went with it. You were in the fight. It was just that kind of day, and you accepted it. But it takes its toll.
It really does. And it's for me. I didn't even have these words in my lexicon at the time, but the things that stuck to me that just really kind of stick to your ribs wasn't the PTSD triggering type things. It was what I would now call the moral injury type of things.
Yeah.
When I saw very bad things happening to good people,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I just couldn't do enough, or I couldn't do the thing that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
How was that?
So that really didn't change for me until I had my kids.
Okay.
That is the exact moment in time that I definitely became more compassionate, and that early on I was like, I was basically ruthless. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I was, and but once I had children, I understand the weight of my words actually had on people. That was my aha moment. For that specific thing. Yeah.
Kids teach us so much,
Yeah.
It's amazing. We're raising these kids, but we're figuring out how to be dads.
Yeah.
At the same time,
Yeah.
They think we got the answers, but man, we're just, we're doing
kind of winging it.
We are.
Yeah. Just looking back at my dad and, things that it's all perception. He didn't do anything wrong or anything malicious. I wasn't beaten. I came from a good family, good Christian family. But it wasn't perfect. I don't think he was trying to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, God forbid anybody expects perfection out of
Oh
us,
my
right?
gosh, no.
That's a failed tactical mission to
Yeah.
inherit right there.
And especially because I'm so task driven. When I'm grading papers or doing research, I hate to be disturbed. I've got a 4-year-old little daughter, and it's daddy, look at me.
Yeah,
And I'm trying not to. I have to keep it together. Uh,
that you do.
yeah,
I mean, my kids eventually, I credit with literally, very literally saving my life.
yeah,
Putting me in a position to where I saw a purpose
yes,
for living.
yeah,
After a period of suicidality, of abusing alcohol, of
mm-hmm.
abusing pain medications,
Yeah.
just to sleep.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? And
yeah.
thankfully, they're there.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can relate to some of that story for sure. Sleep is by far my biggest
The
challenge.
worst.
It is terrible, and it's not because of my midnights, and it comes in cycles. Um, but if I'm wearing anything on my sleeve, I'm not sleeping at all. But seeing my daughter and seeing my son and my wife at home, that definitely refocuses me back to where I need to be.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And we were just talking about sleep disruption issues, but I
Yeah.
went to bed I stay pretty light on sleep medications, but I went to bed at about 10 o'clock last night and I woke up at about 12:30.
Yeah.
So that was my night's sleep.
Oh man. Yeah.
And I've been out since 2014.
Oh wow.
And it's like, but it cycles, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. It cycles.
Sometimes I'll sleep fine, and then
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah. I got. My sleep variance this week. I literally had 10 hours of sleep coming home from a gig one night earlier last week, and now I'm on maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep. And it's a battle.
so these things add up, man.
Yeah.
You get the moral injury, you get the PTSD, and it starts to manifest itself in things like sleep destruction or disruption, and things like self-medication.
Yeah.
But we eventually got to find our way out of that, right?
Yeah.
So what was it like for you transitioning from this struggle period? Now you've got your kids, now you've got a different outlook in life. What does it look like to start to get well?
It's a constant battle. There's good days, there's bad days. It's never. I think getting well is a bit of a fallacy. Controlling it, controlling it is the ideal. What I think we should be striving for. Because there's always going to be challenges in life. So getting well, I'm not really sure that even exists for people like us.
As like an endpoint.
Like,
Yeah.
as an endpoint done, there's no more work to do.
Right.
I don't think that exists for us.
Agreed.
Although, I mean, obviously, I would love for that to be the case. I just don't think it is, because we run on a different spectrum. We've seen a lot of things. Our experiences have tailored our personalities. Our history with our families have tailored different things with us. And so, I'm really just trying to learn how to dance in the rain basically every day, make the best of every situation. And I'll tell you right now, my biggest problem is that anxiety wave when I'm trying to sleep.
Oh God.
And trying to stifle that thing.
Do you psych yourself? Because I'm going to bed and I'm psyching myself about, I know I'm not going to sleep. I know this is going to hit. I'm going to wake up.
Yeah. You get that conditioned response. You relate that bed to anxiety basically.
Yes.
And I just tell myself it's okay. It's okay. Try not to ruminate. If I lay there more than 30 minutes, you're supposed to get up.
Yeah.
I never do that.
I just recently started
do
doing
it.
that.
I can't do it because I'll be up all night.
I was.
Yeah.
They say to do that because it's supposed to help you go back to sleep.
Yeah.
My new rule is if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm up for more than 15 minutes, I got to get up and go to the gym because
Okay.
I got a 24-hour gym.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to get a lot of cardio in.
Okay.
Because I can't extra lift, but get a lot of cardio in. It's not helping me sleep though, man.
Yeah. No, it cardio in the middle of the night. I mean that seems to me like it would boost you up and just make you more alert.
It kind of does, but on the other hand, I'm really just sitting on my couch watching Superman for the 27th time or something.
I'm a Back to the Future guy. Like, it's constantly on in the background.
Back to the Future is
nonstop.
That's a perfect.
Not even if I'm watching it, it's just on.
God, yeah,
yeah.
And the first one, that's a perfect movie.
Yeah,
I mean that is one of the best movies ever made.
I mean there's still Easter eggs in that. I'm catching.
Still catching.
Yeah, having that random noise and all that stuff. Like when I sleep, I've got sleep apnea. I'm not a heavy guy, and I have sleep apnea.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that. But we're taught that that's what it may be.
Yeah.
So, I've got my CPAP on, I've got a eye mask, and I use sleep earbuds with literal sleep hypnosis
Like the binaural stuff? Have you looked
and
into that?
binaural beats
Yeah.
layered on top of it every night.
How's it going?
Most of the time it's good.
Yeah.
Definitely effective.
I gotta look into that.
Yeah. The a good pair of wireless Bluetooth earbuds, definitely way to go.
Good.
It's a bit of adjustment, so I'm used to stuff hanging on me anyway, so it wasn't so bad for me.
True. So I've had my whole face rebuilt, man. Nose, sinuses, like just crushed and fights over time, So that's super fun.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things? So you talked about like some of the sleep hygiene stuff. What are some of the things? Because I love what you said. There's no end point to this, right? Yeah. It's like if a person is suffering from cancer and their oncologist doesn't say they're cured, they say the cancer is in remission. And I always think of it a little bit like that.
Yeah.
So it's still there, but I'm still managing. Like I'm not going to be cured of this, but
right?
Maybe I can manage it.
Yeah.
What else do you do to help you manage those things?
That's where the music comes in and the surfing, and obviously I've got papers to grade, and just I try to find whatever productive way I can to distract myself from it.
Nice.
I obviously I like podcasts. There's a lot of good ones out there. And I try to take a nugget from everything, and then when I start ruminating and I start going into that, for lack of better, it's a shame spiral basically. You use your mantras to pull yourself out of it, and then you could most of the time you can feel that pit, that anxiety ball release in your stomach.
Yeah.
And so that's ultimately what I focus on, is how to deal with anxiety in the moment, not necessarily long term.
That's really good advice. One of the things I got comfortable with was kind of the somatic experience, because often when I experienced anxiety, I'm like, let me push this out, let me repress it almost, pretend like it's not happening. But it's happening.
Yeah.
So where is it? Where do I feel it? Is it in my gut? Is it in my chest? Is it in my hands, my shoulders? Do you do that kind of exploration?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to, most of mine is pretty predictable. It's in my stomach almost always. Sometimes you'll get a little shake, you get the shakes or something like that. But no, you go through that body exploration, and you just, and that actually helps.
Yeah.
It's part of the name it, tame it kind of philosophy, just being present in a moment, to be so self-aware that you realize, hey, my anxiety's here right now. I wish it was so easy to be like, okay, if it's in my, chest, it's more of this, or if it's in my stomach, it's more of this, but that's not, I don't think that's
for me, I'm always just trying to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Let
me figure out what this experience is right now.
Yeah. And I felt, in my specific situation, and it's just being aware, mainly aware of, maybe not necessarily understanding why at the time, but recognizing it and saying, hey, I am feeling these emotions right now.
Love that. Don't got to figure it out. Just got to feel it.
Yeah. And that, you get that logic circuit in your brain, calming down that amygdala, get that lizard brain under control, and you can. Yeah.
There it is again.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
How you been?
Yeah.
So you just kind of touched on this, name it and get some power over it. I was watching, I am the worst with horror films, man. Like a real threat, I'm cool.
Yeah.
Horror films, oh my God.
No, I can't do it.
So I was watching The Nun, I think it was. They had to figure out the name of the demon. And once they had the name, they had this power over the demon. Right? And I've started to look at anxiety, depression, these waves of intense experiences, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like, let me give this a name. Yeah. And then maybe I could get some power over it.
Yeah. And what it does, it creates space between, the actual anxiety and the self-awareness that you realize you're actually having it. And it just creates that space, and you get a breath.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all it takes for me. There's other times it'll be there all day. It'll be on and off all day. And I will have no idea why.
Right.
It'll just start trying to put a finger, trying to identify a trigger or something like that. It seems like it's different every day.
And that's crazy too, because, people who have never experienced that will ask you, well, what sets it off? What triggers it? I don't know.
It could be my daughter yelling and running around the house. It could be my son bouncing a ball.
Yeah.
Trying to explain to them, like, don't yell in the house, don't run around yelling, because in our job, when people are yelling, they typically need help.
Yeah.
And And another example is, my wife watches all these reality TV shows, and they're constantly bleeping out cuss words.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the same urgent traffic tone on our radio.
Oh wow.
And so anytime I hear that, I have to put my noise canceling headphones on. That is a definite trigger.
I do that during TV. When my family's
Yeah.
watching TV, I'll put the noise canceling
Mhm.
headphones on. There was some show, gosh, it was one of the Yellowstone, like 1923
Oh yeah,
or something.
yeah,
So much horrible
yeah,
shit happening on that show, man. I'm like, I'm
yeah,
just gonna put these headphones
yeah,
on so I don't hear that.
yeah, yeah. So I'm not trying to be distant from them, but
Sure.
they understand, but they don't fully understand because they're not feeling the same feelings.
And that's fair,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Because they don't have those same experiences.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we touched on way back at that first responder project retreat was a lot of times it's not that we don't want to talk to our families.
Right.
It's not that we don't want to open up.
Yeah.
But the things we're seeing, we don't want them to know that exists.
Yeah, yeah.
We want to keep them away from that.
Yeah. I'm pretty good about opening up, but I try not to be a burden about it because it could sometimes be every day.
Sure. It could wear you down.
Yeah. And it could wear my wife down. And it's, so I try to balance how much I actually reveal, you know, not to be subversive or anything like that, just because one, I don't want her worrying, being self-aware that you're even having, any type of anxiety, you're already ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But I don't need her worrying about me every day. Oh God, what's happening to him today? What trigger did he experience today? I tell her some things, and some things I just kind of hold it in and not suppress it. I'm working through it mentally.
Right.
That seems to help very good.
You're right, because they're going to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. She can
it's
tell.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to manifest. Years ago, Jess was probably the first person to go, man, I don't know, but I think maybe you need to get out. And then I think maybe it's time.
Yeah.
So often our family, our loved ones are the people that see that first.
Yeah.
In whatever way it presents.
Yeah. So when I come home and I've got the pit, I'll tell her, I'm a little on edge today, and that's all I need to say, Now trying to convey that to the kids, because they're 12 and 4, and it's like Tom and Jerry in the house. I mean, they go, and my baby girl can grapple, like she can double leg, she can single leg, she'll choke you out at 4 years old already. And 'cause my son's been teaching her, and so those two are always going at it, and she is at full volume all the time.
I think I've got a picture of my daughter as a baby wrapped around my arm like an arm bar, And then, of course, Jude Tyler even was, big into martial arts and, and strength training. My daughter is so strong, and I love seeing those qualities develop in them. And it really gives me somewhere to kind of put that energy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let me help this person. And that helps me.
Yeah. So when my son's bouncing the ball or my daughter's running around yelling, I mean, for 4, she's got some lungs. And I'll just like my wife, I'm a little on edge. I'll say, hey, today's not the day to do this.
Yeah.
And that seems to be working at this point, to kind of get them calmed down so I can be calm in my own house and not be on edge, Yeah.
And my daughter has become so observant. She grew up with this, so she's become so observant and so attuned to like my mental state that she's one of, and I do the same for her. We know when the other is a little on edge. We know when the other is experiencing something. We can kind of support that way. Yeah,
I could definitely see my daughter developing into that for sure, because that's all she's ever known. I've been fighting this battle just like you have for a very long time, and it's all she's ever known. Hey, Daddy's not feeling well today.
Yeah. Man, and
Yeah.
they become such patient people, such compassionate people through that.
Yeah.
If we're able to give back, which I think you are. Let me ask. So we've got surfing, we've got music, we've got time with your kids, and we're not in the business of diagnosing or recommending, but I always like to talk about some of the things that have worked for me. What are maybe clinically, non-clinically, some of the things that have worked for you in improving your position?
Really being able to recognize my mental state at the time, not just suppressing it, not trying to fight it. I think that was the biggest adjustment, not trying to fight it off. That is by far the hardest thing. And anxiety lies to you. PTSD lies to you,
Yes.
and you start catastrophizing, and you could do 95 things right, but it's only going to focus on the other 5 things you did wrong, and that doesn't negate everything you did right. And so it's looking at things, backing out of that headspace, looking at it objectively and not from an emotional standpoint. What does the evidence say? That has really, really helped me channel, while I'm awake, as long as I'm not in bed. If I'm in bed, all bets are off.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, it's twice as hard when you're laying down.
It really is.
To be logical.
That's why I've gotten to that moving point. It's like, God, I'm just laying here. Everything's worse when I'm just laying here.
Yeah. So. Like I was struggling this morning. I got home about 4:30, laid down, and 7 o'clock rolls around. I'm on my phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I put on, I had my hypnosis going. I had my theta waves, binaural beats going.
Yeah.
And typically that is really effective, but I had a little extra stress. I performed on something I didn't necessarily think I did well on, but I did. And for some reason that ate me up, and it kept me from getting good rest. Yeah. It's weird how your perception is clouded by your emotions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you touched on this too, but I love evidence-based approaches.
Yeah.
I love research. I love all those things.
Yeah.
But the simple reality is we're all feeling creatures first.
Yeah. Yeah.
We feel first, and then we employ rationality.
Yeah. Yeah. The anxiety, it usually stems from a thought, even if it's a thought that just passes by. We're taught to look at our thoughts like a cloud just and let it go by. But sometimes just seeing the cloud go by can be the trigger.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of my favorite, being more objective, being more analytical, which I'm really good at to begin with.
Yeah. Some of the things like we take from DBT, like dialectic behavioral therapy, like, is this a feeling or a fact?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
What am I experiencing?
Yeah.
So I love that approach.
Yeah. And going back to the perception, that perfectionism and perfectionist attitude, well, that's anxiety. Okay. That's all rooted in anxiety.
Yeah.
And, that's some of the stuff I'm still learning about. So try not to being okay. Just if you're on a range, you throw around, just be okay with it.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like it happens. It's not a death sentence. You can have a 99% hit rate, but you throw one round and you're up for 2 days because you can't sleep. Dude, that perfectionist attitude is terrible.
It's so funny you say that. My buddy Rob Higgins, I was just talking to him the other day. He's a phenomenal firearms instructor. I met him years ago. He's one of the guys I lean on, when shit's getting ugly.
Yeah.
But we had this exact conversation.
Really?
He's like, you got a group like this, and this one is over here.
Yeah.
That's the only
thing. That's the one you're going to lose sleep on.
Yeah. When you think about.
Yeah. And because the SWAT team and shooting is, it was life for us, basically.
Yes.
And so you get that ingrained in you early on, and if you perceive you didn't meet your standard or their standard, guys like us, that eat you alive
every day.
Every day, every time, it'll eat you alive. You could still be center mass, you could still be in upper box, and you could just have one little low round, and just because it wasn't perfect, it'll chew you up.
Do you remember Super Troopers? You remember that?
Yeah.
There's that scene in there where he throws one. He's like, oh, sucker, I wouldn't worry about that guy. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah. No. 'Cause I'm a firearms guy. I shoot every day I go to work. It's not my identity. I do it a lot of at a necessity.
Sure.
And actually it's been somewhat therapeutic, but it's also been a trigger. So I'm always on YouTube looking at gun stuff. I'm always on YouTube looking at, these guys or, these gamer guys that can just throw down and bang. I came across a video. It was a retired Navy SEAL, and, he's running his optic, and he's got a great group. I mean, great group. He's only shooting 15 yards. It wasn't far. But he threw one just a little low right, just outside of the fist group that he had. And he's like, I'm going to lose sleep over that for 2 days. He's right there.
Yes.
that level of dedication to something.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So picture this, if you will, Jeremy. But I'm a pretty high level shooter, right?
Yeah.
So I wake up and I've had a TBI for a while, and it's starting to get worse as they do. You know,
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
get better, they get worse. So I'm having vestibular issues. So I'm having issues with my dominant eye not being so dominant anymore. So I've got that to contend with. I wake up in June and this arm is dead.
Yeah.
Right. I can't brush my teeth. I can't touch my face. So I've been trying to regrow this thing. So now I've got two obstacles in the way of my idea that I should get back to the shooter that I was. One, this arm doesn't work, and two, this eye doesn't work. You know, so that's what I'm working through right now in the range, trying to get back to that. So that'll hit you on a kind of a self-esteem level.
Yeah,
you know, try to get back through that. Man, that's a bear.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you tried any type of peptides or anything for your for the healing?
Yeah, man, it's you know, that's been instrumental for me.
Yeah.
You know, and it took me a long time to come around to being open to that, because I just wasn't sure. But the experience that I leaned on with medical professionals and people who have experienced that, I'd say the reason I'm recovering is a combination of just pure working my ass off and unconventional therapies.
Yeah. I definitely was. I wouldn't mind trying a peptide for like mental health if I don't even know if there's even one out there for that.
Yeah, there's two. I'll tell you about them later. But two that have proven, one very effective for somebody I care about, and one very effective for me. But
wow.
Yeah, we could have some conversations about that. So we know what you do. We know you're managing this. So I like to say I'm on the road to wellness, but who knows where wellness is?
Yeah.
You know, who knows what that does?
You don't really know how far away.
What would you say to anybody watching the show? Because two big things we want to do with the show. One, we want to destigmatize the conversation around mental health. Guys like you, guys like me, just being willing to talk about this. The other thing we want to do is guide people to resources that are going to help them if they're not yet on that road, or if they're on that road but they're maybe at a sticking point. Is there any way you might want to point them, any group, any organization you might want to point them to?
Yeah, the first responder group with Tracy for law enforcement. That's most of my experience is with her and her group, you know. But the number one thing I would tell people is you're not alone. You know, there's other people going through the exact same thing that you're going through. Their story may be different, but the feelings aren't different. They're all the same feelings.
Yeah.
You know, so I that's typically what I tell. I've got some good military friends, and they're kind of going through it, and I'm like, dude, you're not alone, man.
Yeah.
You know, we're all dealing. If you're in any type of this business, you're going to go through it at some point.
You are.
You know.
Here's what I'm going to ask everybody to do if they're watching. This is something I picked up from Terry Andrews, our CEO, and I just love it. She calls it a caring contact. I don't call it that because, you know, I like different words. But
yeah.
If there's somebody you know you haven't talked to in a while, somebody you think might be struggling, or maybe you're struggling, just reach out to that one person today. Shoot them a text. And it doesn't have to be anything big. Hey, buddy, just thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. That kind of thing can really kind of change a person's day.
Yeah.
And, you know, you talked about Tracy, you know, from the First Responder Project. She'll be on the show as well. She's a veteran. Her husband's a veteran. She's just done so much to help first responders.
Yeah.
And God, man, it's really cool to see that there are resources out there. And you've been able to utilize them. I've been able to utilize them. So you guys can do it too.
Yeah.
Jeremy, if there's nothing else you want to leave people with, I'm going to say goodbye to these guys and let them get on the road.
All right.
Guys, I want to thank you again for joining us on Clearing the Minefield. It can be tough figuring out where to take your next step when you're walking through that minefield. But again, guys like Jeremy can do it. Guys like me can do it. We know you can do it too. If it's mentionable, it's manageable. So let's talk about it. See you next time.